Hi everyone, so the main event today is these lovely Distress Oxide ink pads by Holtz, and they are something that I have been considering for a long time because I started off by purchasing these little mini distress inks, and they fit in perfectly into this tin, which just works really well because it's nice and organized and you can see everything, and because they're small I could just sort of go ahead and use them that way. Now I'm not sure if the Distress Oxides are available in small sizes, but anyhow, here in UK it is very hard to get hold of them, and I found a seller from Devon. I will put her information down below. So I found her on Amazon and she sells these beauties. I will check out her website as well to see if she has any more colors, because like I said, it's very difficult to get hold of the exact colors that you want here in UK. And I haven't had a chance to look at her website just yet because they came through this morning. So I've got the same colors that I already have in the Distress inks. I've got them in the Distress Oxide, which is the Spun Sugar and the Wild Honey. So just to give you a brief kind of summarized information about the difference of Distress Oxides and Distress inks. These came out first. They're lovely inks to work with. In fact, I'll show you a little layout that I have made just to give you an idea. So this is what the Distress inks look like when they're stamped. So the colors are beautiful, and you can use some water to spray so that they are water soluble, and that will kind of distress the ink a little bit more. And then if you don't want to use them in that way, you can just use them as lovely inks to stamp with, and the colors are gorgeous. So these are this particular color is the Wild Honey, and this one is the Tattered Rose right here that I used. Okay, so that's what the Distress inks are. The Distress Oxides Holtz came out with later, and what they are is, in essence, they're made to look a little bit chalky, and they're quite pigmented, so they have this opaque kind of look to them, like a milky kind of look. And what I mean by that is, for example, let me show you with the Distress Oxide Wild Honey and the Distress ink of the Wild Honey. So this is the same color, but you can see the difference. I will do the swatches, and because I have the same two colors in both inks, I will compare them side by side so that you have the perfect idea. Now, there are some videos by Holtz where you can see the entire range, where he does a flip through on tags, like the swatches he did, and you can see exactly what each color looks like in Distress ink and the Distress Oxide. So the colors that I got, apart from Spun Sugar and Wild Honey, is also Cracked Pistachio. Now I wasn't certain about this color because kind of it's hard to judge when you have a picture online. It's sort of not a color that I would go naturally for. It's a little bit too bright and unnatural, but I heard a lot of crafters say so many good things. It's meant to be like a best-selling green in the Distress inks and the Distress Oxides, and basically it looks like that in the ink pad, but again, it's sometimes very hard to judge what it's going to look like on paper. I also got the Crushed Olive and Stormy Sky. Now, these colors that I picked are supposed to look nicely together. We will see if that will be the case, but I'm also expecting a package from US, which I think there were 6 ink pads that I'm getting from this range, and they are like color coordinated, I think yellows and oranges or something like that, with maybe pinks. So that will come separately. but I just wanted to share these because I got them, I managed to find them in UK. Okay, so to understand what they look like, first of all, I think what I'm gonna do is just stamp them with a nice floral stamp, because in essence that's why I actually got them to use with clear stamps, specifically with this Maggie Holmes Willow Lane stamp set, which is just the most gorgeous thing ever. There are different ways of using distress ink. So you could stamp with them, you could apply them on a bit of packaging, which is this plasticky clear bag that you get most of your art supplies in these days, and you can apply the ink onto there, and then you spray some water. So I've got this Tim Holtz Distress spray, which I really like. You have two ways of spraying with it. So you can have a nice fine spray, or you can have a dripping effect if you just push the lever slowly. And it also has a lock button on here, which is great for traveling. So that's how you could use it, and then you can apply it to paper. You could do all sorts of things. Now today I want to first of all stamp the inks dry as they are, and then I also want to do side by side with water, because obviously that's what they're designed for. So we're going to look at that as well. Okay, so on this piece of paper I want to compare these two inks like that. So I'm using a watercolor paper, and this specifically is one that's great for crafting. So it's not artist grade watercolor paper, but it is great for a lot of things. So it's the Aquarelle Block watercolor paper 300 GSM by Tiger. So it's very affordable. I think it's about £40 for 20 sheets. Okay, so let's start with this one. So I'm going to grab an acrylic block. I'm actually really excited to try this out, because it's I've seen Maggie Holmes demonstrate this look. Now let's have a look. You see, this is the Spun Sugar in Distress ink, and this is Spun Sugar in Distress Oxide. You can see how different it looks. And so as I was saying, Maggie Holmes created this patent paper where she demonstrated how she used inks and these stamps, and it just looked so beautiful. It immediately sold it to me. Okay, so it's quite faint and not too kind of dark, the color. So let's see what we get out of this. And so Spun Sugar. So I'm going to try to do them side by side. I'm going to give a good press. Okay, so this is it. I didn't get enough onto, how would it be, this side, I guess. So I'm going to go ahead and do it like that. And then I'm going to try and align the image. Okay, it might not be accurate just because I've done it like that. Yeah, it's not doing it. Okay, so I thought it's the perfect time now to actually get my Hampton Art Stamp Perfect set out, because I've never used it, and it's supposed to be good for dealing with the problem that I just had. So when you stamp an image and you get like a sparse area, you can fix it quite easily, supposedly. So let me give it a go and see how it works. So it looks quite nice. I wonder where the magnets are. Oh, here they are at the back. So the magnets are very, very strong, and it comes on a foam base. And then let me remove that so we can start. It looks quite nice, and I like the fact that it's this beautiful aqua teal or turquoise color, and it looks very well made and well designed. So here's a little foam. So yes, on the picture here it says, or it looks like the foam mat is still there. I'm not sure in what cases you would remove it, but anyways, let's just do this for now. So what you do is you put the foam in there, and then you are going to do the exact same thing as we've done with the ink. Okay, so the area that needs more ink, you're going to ink that up, and then we're going to put it down and press it on the area that we are interested in to getting the ink there. And it's actually done it quite well. So I might go ahead and do it all over again just to make it a little bit darker. So I'm just stamping it here. Like so. So I'm just going to, like I said, stamp it and make sure I have color everywhere. Okay, so I will leave it at that. Now, the next thing that I will do is do side-by-side image of the Distress Oxide. And first of all, I'm just going to take this ink. It's so easy to clean up. Literally hardly anything comes off because all the ink has gone onto the paper. So, okay, let's do the Distress Oxide. I can see that there is a lot more pigment, and it looks beautiful. Very pretty color. Okay, it looks nicely done. Do it like that. Okay, so it stamps actually really beautifully, the Distress Oxide. It seems to have more detail there, and to describe it, it seems to be kind of almost less wet, so it doesn't smudge as much. It doesn't, the pigment seems to be a little bit drier, so therefore the image stamps out a lot more detailed, as you can see, hopefully. And the color is different, so it is a warmer pink, very pretty color. So again, I'm going to clean up, and I'm now going to repeat the same process with these two. So the Wild Honey in Distress Oxide and the Distress ink. So that's the beauty about this tool. If you can see there are some areas that haven't printed perfectly, you quickly go back and press on those areas, and it shouldn't move because it's all nicely secured. So like that. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at this. It's a beautifully stamped image, and I'm going to move on to Wild Honey, and I'm going to show you just quickly now because it was the first time me using it and I kind of was all over the place. I'm going to show you the proper way, or the right way of using it. So make sure first of all your stamp is nice and clean just by dabbing off the ink. These inks are very easy to clean off because they're not crayons, so whatever sits on top, you just dab it off like that. Okay, so now what you do is you make sure you secure your piece of paper and take off your stamp and place it in the area that you want it to be stamped. Okay, so in that case it would be somewhere here like that. Okay, and I'm going to now lift the top and stick it, make sure that the stamp sticks well like that. Okay, now I'm going to stamp it up with the wild honey, which looks very different, very bright, very beautiful. And I'm going to make sure I cover all the areas so it looks nice and even. Okay. And now I'm going to stamp with it. So you can see already that the color is different. I actually was quite apprehensive when I first saw the Distress inks because they kind of looked, like I said, a bit chalky and a bit opaque. But it seems that I actually prefer the colors of the Distress Oxides more. Although I don't want to prefer anything, I really like my mini Distress inks and I love using them. But, you know, the colors and the idea of it is quite nice. It's different enough for you to have both. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. So there you go. Beautiful yellow. Very gorgeous. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp the other colors, and I'm going to actually stamp all of them again on another piece of paper. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use them like that and also side by side with spritzing some water and seeing how that activates the ink and what it does. Alright, so let's do that next. Okay, so I prepped my paper. I cut it into 4 little sheets and I'm going to use that for the next set of colors. So for now I'm just going to use the magnets here and I'm going to do exactly the same as I've done previously. So I want to have 4 in one paper. So let's do that. Now, oh, I forgot to actually clean this off and it's going to be dry now, but I'll show you what you can do in that situation. So what you can do is you can remove it quickly. And then I'm going to spray water because remember, these can be activated with water. It's a lovely yellow color. And then you just clean it off like that and it's all perfectly clean. We're going to put it down first like that and then do our image. Once I'm happy with the placement, I'm just going to stamp it or press it rather. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 and 2. Okay, I'm going to do probably... Let's see, I'm going to do these 2 together. So the Stormy Sky and Spun Sugar first. Alright, so I just went ahead and stamped all of the colors. By the way, I just want to show you as well, because I don't think I have done it. I want to show you what all of them look like in the on the pad. So this is the crushed olive. The one before was spun sugar. Then wild honey I already showed you, beautiful color. And then the Stormy Sky is a beautiful kind of like a grayish blue. It reminds me of that denim color. Crushed pistachio as well. Beautiful mint, like a perfect mint color. Okay, so one thing I wanted to show you now, because I have 2 spaces left on this paper, is actually I had a little bit of residue of the crushed olive on the stamp, and then I went ahead and applied a cracked pistachio, and that gave me really lovely effect here. But what I want to show you now is how you can do that without getting your ink pads contaminated with other colors. So what you would do is take that packaging that I told you about before and then use the colors. So give it a nice little squeeze. You can see they're crazy pigmented, lovely colors, as well as the ink that's in there. And then you're going to go ahead and next to it place another color. So now what you're going to do is you're going to grab your ink or stamping your stamp, and then you're going to just kind of use it like that, and in some areas you're going to kind of do a little bit of playing around and mixing the color. So now I'm going to carefully place it onto the paper, and I want to show you what kind of look you can achieve when you use 2 colors. You can play around and have loads of fun, so you can get something like this, which is lovely. It's not just one flat color, but there's a little bit more dimension and fun. So that's it. Okay, and then I'll do another one just above there so that we can spray it with water as well. So let me just push it a little bit to the side, and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to go into, I hope you can see, into the ink and then into here. This is so much fun. I can't explain to you. If you never tried Tim Holtz Distress inks or the Distress Oxides, I really would encourage you to do that, because they are fun and it's such a quick way of getting yourself really creative and arty. Because if you're not good at drawing, sometimes you don't know where to start. If you just buy a nice decent set of clear stamps and a few of the colors from Distress Oxides or the Distress inks, whichever you prefer the look of, you can create so many different things. I mean, I can turn this into ephemera, I can fussy cut them, and I can create layouts in my art journal. I can embellish when scrapbooking. I can do all sorts of things. So have a look how beautiful this looks. It's just so gorgeous, and that way you're not contaminating your ink pads. They're nice and clean, and all of that mess is happening right here. And then what you could do further, you could take, actually let me just do that now. I'm going to take my Dilutions journal. Let me just